Hey, what's going on, everybody? It is James here with Crypto Quick Start. Wanted to shoot a video because today is June 27th, and obviously Bitcoin has had a major pullback, and in my opinion is nowhere near done pulling back. So first thing we'll do is we'll talk about Bitcoin, we'll talk about some Litecoin, we'll talk about some other coins here, and yeah, it's gonna be fun. All right, so first thing I want to talk about is Bitcoin and the fact that if you're watching this thing drop and you did not sell yet, I can't tell you what to do, obviously. What I will tell you is there's still opportunity if you have fiat available. And I don't mean for buying and holding necessarily, but if you play these oversold areas right, you can make a ton of money, okay? Let me show you what I'm talking about. So we have this come down, down, right? So this came down to 11,350. This came down to 11,301. Basically, it proved itself as a line of support down around 11,300. So if you had noticed that, this would have been earlier today in the morning time, okay? If you had noticed that, then you could have actually had a bid working at 11.3. I always go a few dollars over on Bitcoin, a few cents over on Litecoin, etc. So say 11.325, you could have jumped in there, and guess what happened? That was an oversold area. It immediately bounced back up, and within a couple of hours, that thing had actually went up almost $900. So conservatively speaking, could have made $700 or $800, bam, per Bitcoin, right? Right there on that oversold bounce. Okay, and that was just playing this support level that had been basically established. Excuse me, let's move this over one. You could have played that support level, but actually the one I was meaning to refer to in that case was this one over here, okay? Where we'd had it two times, it had already bottomed there, and if we had played this, would have got roughly, what? Maybe up to $500-$600 on that bounce. And again, I'm not talking about buying and holding. I'm talking about buying to quickly flip. And then we came down, and 10.3 was an area of support that we talked about in previous videos. It had been an area of resistance, and then it turned to support. And so right here, we have 10.330. So if you got in at 10.350, for example, bam, within an hour, it jumped up over $600. Okay, again, quick flip. Came down. What did it do? It said, hey, you know what? For all you that missed out the first time around, let's have another shot at this. Came down. What did it do? 10.3 again. Another chance, another opportunity. And if you had bought down at 10.350 again, it went down to 10.3. But if you bought down at 10.350, maybe you had a stop loss at like 10.2. Bam, it jumped about $500 within an hour. And I probably would have already been out. In fact, I know I would have been out because I bought and sold already. I sold at 10.795. If you had continued to hold, it's up a little over $600 right now. But even if you had sold where I sold at 10.775, that was about a $400 to $500 bounce. All right, crazy profits. All right, and again, just playing support. You got to make sure you're using stop losses, right? Bam, bounce, bam, bounce, bam, bounce, bounce. Okay. But the reason you want to use stop losses is pretty obvious, because if it falls through this level and falls through that 10.3, it's going to go down and probably go down really fast. Okay, our next major level of support, the next major level that I'll be looking to play is going to be down here around the 9,900 area. I don't even know that I'll do that. I don't know that I'll jump in there just because I think if we fall under 10K, panic might ensue and it might go down a lot faster than what people are expecting. I'd probably feel comfortable, and this is not trade advice, I'm not telling you to do this. I'm saying me personally, I might feel comfortable jumping in down around $9,400 with a stop loss probably down around maybe 90. That's a tough one. I'll have to look at that one a little closer. I don't like the fact that the next level of support is so far down there, $8,900, a pretty big drop. So I might play that, might not. Definitely will be looking to play the $8,500 area for a bounce if we get down that low. But again, this isn't really about giving you advice. This is not telling you what to do. I'm just saying look for these areas of support. I was able to get the one on 10.3. I actually screwed up. I was on a phone call, and I ended up missing the 10.3, and I bought at 10.5 instead. So bought at 10.5 and then sold at 10.795. So still not a bad play, but didn't get the best of it. This right here looks interesting. This is a 4-hour chart. It looks like it's trying to form a really solid double bottom there. If we zoom into an hourly, it's trying to form a W. So see, down, up, down, bam, and we're sitting right at that neckline. If we break this neckline, we might see this thing try to shoot back up and get a little bit of relief from the oversold conditions. Some people would want to take that trade on a breakout trade. I'm not one of them. I just don't like that risk. All right, but that's where Bitcoin's at. As far as levels I'm looking at for buying long term for holding, they haven't really changed that much. I still think there's a big gap down here between 5,800 and 6,600. I think there's a gap down here between 4,200 and 4,800. So those would both be places I would want to go really, really hard in. And I would be comfortable starting to tiptoe back in this market long term. Once we retrace down to the 61.8 fib, down around 7,200 bucks, I might start taking some bids or putting in some bids to grab some Bitcoin. All right, but I'm not going to be going full hawk unless we get down and put some structure in this area or this area down here. And again, that's just me. I could miss out. It may just leave me in the dust and never come back down there, and that's just the risk I take. All right, so let's talk about Litecoin. Litecoin, interesting thing about Litecoin, it's crashing, way down. I took a lot of flack for one of my previous YouTube videos where I was talking about it coming down. People were all excited about the halvening. I was trying to warn people that the last halvening in 2015 led to the price crashing over 70%, and people didn't want to hear that. So let's just look and see what happened on that. I will load my halving chart where I had all this drawn up, and of course, on the left-hand side here, we will go back and quickly look at 2015. You can see what happened. People say, oh, fractals don't work in crypto. That's bullshit. You can see roughly 48 days before the halving is where the price topped, and then it came crashing down over 70%. If we look at 2019, if we look at 48 days. Oh, there it is right there. The very next bar, the price topped, and look what's happening. It's crashing down. Fractals absolutely work. They're not exact, okay? Markets don't repeat themselves exactly, but they often give you clues. That's all this was saying, okay, well, this is the same time frame in 2015. This is the amount of time before the halvening that the price started to dump, right? It topped out and then dumped. Well, again, the very next bar, we had our top, and ever since then, it's been dumping. It's dumped about 24% max, currently sitting down about 20% on Litecoin. So am I a buyer right now on Litecoin? I'm not. My Litecoin levels, not much different from my Bitcoin levels. I'm going to be a buyer somewhere down closer to the $60 to $70 range. I'd really like to see it come down and maybe even consolidate down and be like around the $45 to $55 range. But I'd be okay tiptoeing back in the high 60s, maybe even all the way up to $75. Okay, so that's where I'm at on Litecoin. But overall, this is a good thing. So if you're freaking out right now, if you're bummed out because you didn't sell, don't panic. Just learn from your mistakes and do better next time. And if you are sitting on the sidelines with fiat, waiting to invest, just keep an open mind and remember that it's not just investing where you can make money. Look for places where the market is oversold. Look for places of strong resistance, especially if they line up with any type of Fibonacci levels, and you can often make some really good money. So I'll show you what I'm talking about there. We'll do this real quickly so the video doesn't get too long. If we look at a short-term fib down from these double bottoms over here at 7,500 all the way up to our top, look at this, our 38.2 short-term fib. Had a huge tail come down, tag that thing, and that tail ended up bouncing about 17% within an 8-hour window. 17%. Every $1,000 somebody put in down here, they could have got up to $170 back in return. All right, so even if you bought just one Bitcoin down here, could have very easily made $1,500 to $2,000 playing that fib. And then if you look down here, same thing, this 50 fib, when it tagged it, you would have very likely gotten stopped out on this one on a 4-hour. But if you zoom in on the 1 hour, I think the same thing. I think you really probably would get stopped out. But again, just so happens that look what happened. Those support lines we were talking about earlier, boom, bounced off of it, went up, boom, bounced off it, went up, boom, bounced off it, went up. And that's probably why it was such a strong area of support, because people were thinking the 38.2 retracement had been a strong buying opportunity this entire uptrend. If you've been buying there the whole time, you did really, really well on this uptrend. And I apologize for my alarms going off on my phone. I have movies that I have to take back to the movie store. But yeah, overall, Fibonacci levels and support levels when you're going down like this, mixed with some things like some oversold signals. I mean, look at RSI. RSI is not an end-all be-all, but it's a really good judge, right? It's a good indicator. A lot of professionals use it. I don't know why people knock it so much in crypto. So very exciting. You can make money on this, even if this is a correction. There's opportunities. And please remember, you know, if you're newer to this, you might be tempted to buy every time this thing starts to bounce, thinking, okay, it's done, it's going to go back up now. And it could. That's certainly a possibility. But typically, when you switch trends from an uptrend to a downtrend, what you'll see is this will go down, up, down, up. Well, I wanted to move my chart, not draw another line. Down, so on and so forth. This is your first correction. If maybe you get involved in 2018 and you're not sure how this works, it doesn't mean price is going to go right down here. It very well could do some crazy shit before it gets down there. All right, so just be careful and make sure that you're not doing anything that you'll regret later if it goes, you know, in a way that you don't expect. Also, if you are buying on those support lines, my strong recommendation is make sure you're using stop losses. So for example, when I entered this trade at 10.5, my stop loss was at 10.2. Okay, not the best reward risk ratio in the world because I missed the 10.3. But if I had entered at 10.3 like I wanted to, which was right around here, right, then I could have set my my stop loss around 10.2. I have no idea why TradingView makes these stupid boxes so ginormous. That's ridiculous. I don't want a ginormous box. I want a small one that fits my video. So if I'd entered down around 10.3, you know, I could have set a stop loss around 10.2 and a profit order up around like 11. And look, bam, you can't even see it. The risk reward would have been ridiculous, right? $100 risk for about a $700 reward, about a 7 to 1. So I know I'm talking fast. That's because there's a lot to cover and I'm trying not to take half an hour to talk about it all. But main thing is don't panic. This doesn't mean Bitcoin's going to zero. It doesn't mean Bitcoin's going to new lows. It certainly could prove to be that this is a correction in a bear market and that this is going to go up, hit the 61.8 fib, which it did here, and then make a new low. Yes, totally possible. I think it's much more likely that we'll probably just see a correction and either come down to these areas or come down to these areas. Some people think maybe we'll just come down to the 50 fib. It's possible, certainly possible, right? To come down to the 50, fill the gap on the CME, and then go up, definitely a possibility. But long term, I'm an investor in these yellow boxes, okay? Please remember, guys, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm literally some guy sitting in a spare bedroom. Only been doing this for a little over 2 years now, about 25 months. So just take everything I'm saying with a grain of salt. Do your own due diligence. Make sure you seek out professional investment advice before making any type of investment, okay? If you're watching the video on YouTube, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. If you're watching it on the Facebook group, please be sure and give it a like and leave me a comment below. And of course, if you're not already a member of the Facebook group, come hang out. It's free, 3,500 to 4,000 people in there, and I post charts on a daily basis. I was warning people all last week. I drew this chart up. Posted it up way before we ever touched this zone. And it said hodler crushing time, right? And that's exactly what happened. It came up, the market makers came up, sent it up through that 61.8 fib, the long-term fib, and boom, they're bringing it right back down. So everybody that was buying at $12,000, $13,000, $14,000 got absolutely wrecked. And most of the people that were buying up there were FOMO buying, so chances are they probably already panic sold. Just the worst of both worlds. Okay, if you're going to buy high, you definitely don't want to buy high and sell low. Okay? All right, this is James. Thanks for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.